Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to you, Mr. Mohit. Welcome to the
Thank
Esteemed
you.
FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Rani Rohara, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with industry stalwart interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formula for many. And this is what we aim to achieve with these sessions that are a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such personage on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mohit Kumar. With over 29 years of experience, Mohit Kumar has built and empowered talented workforces. He is currently employed as the President, HR and Head of Learning, Talent Acquisition, Organisational Effectiveness, etc. at HINDALCO Industries Limited, which is a group of Aditya Birla, and is handling an employee strength of 55,000 plus. Throughout his career journey, he has handled some of the most challenging roles at the senior most positions. He has held positions namely HR Vice President with Idea Cellular Ltd, HR Country Manager with Hewlett Packard, India, and has accomplished tasks like workforce designing and realignment, spearheading national projects, bringing about organizational effectiveness, etc. So, Mohit, I start, and I would like, as we discussed earlier also, that we would like you to be as comfortable as possible. You have earned numerous awards, one of which is the best business aligned HR strategy. How did you come about achieving it?
Thank you, Rani, so much. Thank you for the opportunity for interacting with you and the other fellow colleagues through you. This was way back around more than a decade back when this HR strategy award was given by the CI, best business aligned HR strategy award by the CI. And what we had done, that we had 3 business groups. One was based out of India, and the other was headed in Germany, but the workforce was in India. And the third one was hosted at India, but the workforce was spread across globally. So I was earlier handling application services India business for my previous company. Thereafter, in the restructuring, the entire IT organization was carved out into India Innovation and Development Support Organization. And also some of the resources were working on the traditional skills spread across the globe. Right. So this new organization had to be put together as one business entity. Right. So taking out the manpower from different verticals to make it in horizontal organization, supporting the entire business verticals. That was one task. Second was to create the business strategy for the or kind of align the workforce around the business strategy of the new IT organization, and accordingly create the HR strategy for new IT organization. What we did was to connect deeper with the level 1, level 2, level 3 organization, and the level 4 organization in terms of what are the priorities, how the priorities are being understood across in the organization. What does it translate into in terms of the balanced scorecard quadrants, in terms of financials, customers, operations excellence, and the people part. What does it mean at level 1? What are the expectations? What does it mean at level 2? What are the expectations? And when it comes to India, at level 3, what does it translate into? And then at level 4, level 3 was in India and Germany. So how does it translate into the priorities for the India and Germany organization? And then level 4 organization, how does it translate into? And up to the level 6 workforce, what does it mean to each and every individual? Converting these priorities into the organization goals, and then putting the program management in place to ensure that the delivery is happening in terms of the aligned priorities across the organization, and in the process creating the excellence for the India organization and the global organization. So that's how, and that's how it was hard work, but it was done. I'll say that it was done well by the business teams and my team working closely together. So whenever I remember that, there's always goosebumps still. Remembering the process, tough, but very satisfying.
Right. So that is nice to know. So Mohit, which of the job roles did you find the most interesting and challenging?
So this is the one that I just discussed with you, that in one of the previous organizations where say IT, internal IT was part of the different business verticals, right? As part of the global restructuring from the business verticals, it was taken out as a horizontal support for all the business verticals. I was handling the largest business unit in the India operations, and out of 18,000 resources globally, around 9,000 were based out of India. So while some resources can be deployed into other businesses, we had to carve out pretty large size business unit providing support to the India operations, to the regional operations of Asia Pacific, Japan, and the global operations operating out of India. And as you are moving into a different business model, that means it was a downsizing model. Yeah. Once you have IT part of the business verticals, you have a lot of IT applications which get created, and then the applications to support those applications, the governance part of it is not that strong compared to once you are making IT as an horizontal organization, then each and every application will go through a scrutiny, 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layers, right? So while the applications got cut down globally, the support applications got cut down globally. Accordingly, the business, the manpower also got impacted. Plus, the new business model was in terms of the multi-skilling and multitasking. So the people who used to do one specific kind of business queries, now they were trained to handle the multiple business queries, right? Without compromising the effectiveness of business. So my job was to ensure that new organization takes place, first of all, that is carving it out from the other business units, the priorities of the larger organization get understood and communicated and imbibed. Accordingly, the people strategy gets formed, and the people strategy was part of that. That was my personal intent, and the intent of the India leadership, that we keep the morale intact of the workforce as we downsize that particular entity, the new entity, right? Because the larger India organization will otherwise have the impact of the morale going down in this particular business unit. So, aligning the organization in India, I had another director sitting out of Germany, and the decisions were being taken in Singapore and US and Germany. When I took this assignment over, it was very difficult for me to make my place in terms of decision making over there. So it began from introducing myself to India managers, then to the managers in Singapore and Germany and US. It came down first as a directive that this is what has to be done. Thereafter, we had to discuss with them. Fine, nobody's questioning that what has to be done, but how it has to be done, it is better left to the country leadership and the country HR. Building trust by regular communication, by regular modeling of the business and the people decision, that this is how your business metrics can be delivered. and without compromising the business effectiveness and the people morale that you need in case you have to deliver on the even more stringent business ask globally. So taking the India business along, taking the regional business along, taking the HR leadership at India was anyway more or less geared up to handle the challenge. Communicating regularly with the Asia Pacific Japan leadership and leveraging them to create the communication both ways with the US HR and business leadership, and ensuring that while the what part is decided over there, the how part gets decided at the country level. And in the process, we are able to downsize without uh, without kind of without people being out of job. So we redeployed them in different parts of the organization, and also uh, even that time IT was doing reasonably well. So in case some people had to be redeployed outside the organization also, we took care of that. Only around 3% we had to give the golden handshake, because the skills that they were working on were not at all relevant in the today's market. But on the other hand, when they're downsizing from in thousands, say around 4,000 people, right? Just three numbers well, if you look back, it was good to keep the business going effectively to the next level, and also keep the morale also high. And in the process, create success for the business and create success for the people also, when you're handling it in a sensitive manner. And it became a case study, which I've captured in the form of a book. The book's name is Humanizing Downsizing, Not an Unkind Cut. That book is likely to get out in a month or two.
Okay.
So that case study was very well leveraged by the other regions, like in Asia Pacific, Japan, and the US. They came down into India to understand how India handled such a large business transformation without compromising on the morale of the people. Yeah. So that's something that I still take pride, and that pride and that sense of satisfaction belongs to the entire team that I had, and the entire business team that we collaborated with. And that business team included the business teams in India, in Asia Pacific, Japan, Singapore, primarily, Germany, and US. Yeah, so that's a great collaboration that, getting into the space when nobody knows you, to building deeper bonds, to better collaborative bonds, and delivering the business and people results together, and enjoying that together. So that is a great story, and that is where your first thing, that the award on the best business aligned HR strategy. So that is where that award came in.
Okay, nice knowing. Taking this further of downsizing. Okay, so my next question is a little bit related to that. Is that which of the three, that is environmental, social, or governance, do you believe needs serious consideration in India?
Yeah, so all three are important, but on the other hand, if we take care of the governance part well, it will take care of the other two also. It will incorporate the other two also as part of the governance very well. So it's time that the organizations in India also mature to the level of governance which is expected as per the global standards. It will only help the organizations in India, and also it will help in building trust within the country and outside the country for more resources to flow in, whether the financial resources or the talent to come in, right? So the talent will like to work for organizations which are responsible and accountable, with good governance in the organization. And obviously then these kind of situations don't happen, that you upscale, you kind of scale up once there's a trigger in the market, right? And also downsize once things don't go the way you want. So there's enough internal governance and enough internal questioning of the decisions, what kind of a risk to take and how do we ring fence while we take the risk, and risk on all dimensions, right, including the people dimensions as well. So I think governance is the piece that will have my vote, where we need to really scale up.
Okay. Can you sum up all your learnings in 3 points for our viewers today? And maybe you could, give your example of, what you were talking about your book, and because I know that will be there in your book, but we'll have to wait for a month. So I would like to definitely get that book once it's, once it's published, because I belong to a certain similar, not HR, but I belong to the sales and marketing background. So 20 years I've worked as sales and marketing, and then after taking a toll, my health taking a toll, then I got into teaching and education. So, I mean, I also would be very interested to know, what would be the 3 learnings?
Great. It's a great question to put all the learning in just 3 sentences.
So you can please go ahead with more also. I'm okay with it.
I'll try to adhere to, because the essence of it is more important than the description of it. But that reminds me of long back, I was getting interviewed by a reputed manufacturing organization, and my exposure to say union handling and all that was limited, right? So I was asked over there that how do you relate or how do you connect with the workforce, right? I was pretty young, around just 2-3 years experience at that point of time, and that job was the factory HR head. Yeah. So my answer was just 2 words. You were asking three lines. My answer was just 2 words, and that is still holds true. The answer was honesty and transparency. Right. So whosoever it is, whether it is blue collar, whether it is white collar, if we are able to create that environment of trust, and trust comes through honesty and transparency. So anybody will be willing to go along with you. So that is the focus. That remained the focus throughout, whether it be manufacturing industry, whether it be service industry. People are people, whether it be Indian workforce, whether it be the global workforce, whether it is India, whether it is Singapore, whether it is Germany, whether it is US, whether it is China. People are people, right? So the more honesty and transparency that we are able to generate, we are able to create that kind of trust, and that is trust is something that creates speed. Trust is something which creates innovation. Trust is something that creates a discretionary contribution by the different teams, right? So that is first part, honesty and transparency. Second part is communicate, connect. So it's so very important to communicate the intent that you have, and also communication is a two-way process. It is a listening also to understand the intent of the other people. As I mentioned in that what the book that I'm writing about, that it began with the environment of lack of trust. But on the other hand, how do you build trust? It is by communicating, having patience while the communications may not go the way you want it, right? Because it's beginning with a lack of trust. But on the other hand, from lack of trust to the extreme trust, how do you travel? And the only way is the communicate, connect, understand what's the priorities, what's the motives of the stakeholders are, communicate what you intend doing, because there's no other way that humans can understand what you intend doing and how you intend doing. How would they gain confidence in what you intend to deliver? Right? So communicating about the plan, communicating about the progress, communicating about the intent, communicating about success, communicating about failure, honestly and transparently. That is how the connect and the trust happens. That is the second part, communicating and connecting. And third part is big piece, that is inclusion, right? So wherever we work, the diversity is all around, right? It can be in different ways. Like in the previous example, it was multinational diversity, where people, what happens in India is quite different from the way it is handled in, say, Singapore, or the way it is understood in Germany, or the way it is decided in US. It's quite different. So how do we understand, how do each and everyone in the game understand, how do the US people understand what happened in Singapore and India, and how does the Indian professional understand how the worlds are different, right? How the how and include that into the decision making which is happening in a scenario which impacting all the stakeholders. Coming back to uh, the larger industry, we have all kind of diversity, whether it be the gender diversity, whether it is the generation diversity, right? How do we include everybody into decision making? We also have the diversity of people coming from different kind of background. As you mentioned that, you took a break, but your experience has to be valued. Or for that matter, people who are coming from different disciplines or different educational backgrounds or different kind of orientations. So all that makes the decision making process pretty rich, and the more inclusive the leaders will be, the more receptive and the more not deep listening that they will demonstrate to the stakeholders. Their decision making and in the process, the business success will be far more richer. So governance, so honesty and transparency is the first piece. The second piece is communicate and connect. Yeah, and third piece is the inclusion of everybody in the game. So that's three learning.
Very nice. Very nicely put it across. Now, since you have worked for tech companies, what technological changes you have seen in your career journey with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, etc.? What kind of changes do you foresee in the corporate world?
My God, this journey has been.
I will add one more thing, like, specifically the AI. The AI buzzes so much that people are, the youngster actually, as I told you, I've been education, and I come across a lot of students, specifically engineering students, and so they are really worried as to AI will take up their jobs. So as an HR person, you are a HR leader, so I would definitely like to know from you about this, maybe a little bit in detail, so that our viewers will definitely, this is for the viewers, so that they also, the youngsters, they understand what actually it is, that yes, AI is coming, but as we say, everything has its pros and cons. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I began my career way back in '94, almost 29 years back, and technology evolution has taken my job multiple times over, actually. Right, I'm not doing what I was doing in say '94 or say '95 or '96. I remember that for any employee issues, there was a place where I could meet the union, and there was a place where I could meet the white collar workers. And the way of solving issues was that you walk in uh, and discuss the issues, and kind of, we have long discussions over tea and coffee. There's a plus to it and there's a minus to it in terms of what you can attend to, right? All those things now get taken care of by the technology that you have in place. In a way, technology has taken my job. On the other hand, it has created a next level job for me every time over. As I was talking to you, that it has allowed me to connect with the same stakeholders uh, at a deeper level, right? In terms of aligning them towards the strategic priorities of the organization beyond the administrative queries, because they are getting handled by technology. Then it is creating the space for the strategic partnership to build, and also with respect to creating more and more space by these technologies that you mentioned, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, that is making the administrative things so very easy. I still remember, this is something that employee relations, I gave the example of '94, '95. And learning also was like, you had those transparencies where you make slides, and then that is the days that we have seen, actually, right? From there to the PPTs, and from there to now everything is available. I remember that when I was working on the capability planning model for the organization in say late 90s and early 2000 for one of my previous organization, I still had to go to library because we didn't have that much of data available, or Google was not there, or the search engines were not that powerful, or were not there. I still had to go to libraries and do my research, and literally had to figure out where all it is in India. The competency frameworks are being developed, or globally also where all the competency frameworks are being developed for me to develop that for my organization at that point of time. Now it is so easy. You just put one search word anywhere on any search engine, or say YouTube, or anywhere you have, and you have so much of data which comes to you apart from the company intranet that will give you data about what all work has been done in that space internally and externally. The life is so easy compared to, so that way the job has been taken over of my generation and your generation multiple times over. But on the other hand, it has created the higher level jobs, right? So what you are seeing, the anxiety in the minds of people, that mm, it will take away the jobs, and that anxiety is real. But on the other hand, it will also create the jobs which are of next level possibility. So like one example, I said that strategic partnership becomes deeper. Second is in terms of the development part becomes much deeper thanks to technology. People can learn anywhere, anytime, the way they want to pace it. They can learn it. They do not have to depend upon some classroom sessions to be organized by the HR team, and then that time they have to wait for it. They can keep learning around it, and once they interface with, say, HR team or the experts in their respective area, functional area, technical area, the engagement can be at a deeper level, right? So, for example, coaching, something that you can learn online, but on the other hand, it has to be experienced into one-to-one conversations. So, so picked up through technology, and remaining part, the deeper part, can be experienced in the one-to-one conversations, right? The facilitation, right? A part of it can be picked up cognitively through Googles and other things. But on the other hand, the experience part of it, the doing part of it, it has to be experienced right, while actually in the workshop. So in a way, it is enabling if it is handled well. Who is at whose service? Is the technology at your service, or you are at the service of technology? So who is the boss? Is technology the boss, or you are the boss? So while there's a big bang explosion of technology and the technology solutions outside, be it machine learning, be it blockchain, be it AI, or just name it, and the powerful search engines and all those things, which is making things available to you literally at the speed of thought, right? That you can literally at the speed of thought, it is making things available to you. But the way it is big bang out is there. Similarly, the to leverage it well, the big bang in is very much needed, and that big bang in is at how mindful we are, how sensitive we are, how aware we are, compassionate we are, and how much is our awareness about ourselves, how much is our awareness about the other people and the teams and the groups and the organizations that we work with, how skillful we are in terms of handling the inner world of the individual human being, the teams, the groups, and the organization. So who is at whose service, whether technology is at the service of the human ecosystem or the other way around. So it has to be smartly handled. And if it's smartly handled, people can keep losing the earlier jobs they had, and keep going for the new and new, better paying and better rewarding and better satisfying jobs that are coming up. So that's a natural process. In India, we say that it's Trinity, right? That is, something gets destroyed and something gets created. So while it is destroying the old patterns, it is creating the new possibilities. It's a matter of being right there in the center mindfully, and leveraging the possibilities well. Yeah.
Okay. Great, nicely answered. And I think even I'm satisfied listening to this. I also had some some anxiety was there within me also. Because sometimes, even when I was talking to students, I was like, yeah, I understand. But then you have to be a notch up, why can't you be a notch up?
Yeah.
So push yourself for that. Like exactly as you said, take it in the right sense. And change is inevitable. Change is
Yeah.
what will just push you, keep on making you go.
Yeah. And it happens very smoothly. No, if we look at it now, suppose we take a cab and all, right? All the drivers are very well, and they know how to go for the e-payment through the different modes, Google Pay or whatever, right? So this happens in a smooth way, right? Before COVID, change management around IT was a challenge, but the moment the COVID happened, everybody was forced to come online, use different tools like what we are using, Zoom or Teams and all, and people get trained overnight because the human need to communicate and connect has to be addressed, COVID or no COVID, right? And so whatever change management could have happened, could have taken say multiple years. It happened in a couple of months during that time. So larger ecosystem has its own way of pacing itself, where people get to adopt it. Like now, technology and smartphones are being used by each and every villager also, right? So when there was, I used to work for a telecom company where the ad was that from one of the best colleges in Mumbai, teacher is teaching, and the small girl is studying somewhere in a small village, right? That time, which is not very far back, it is just around some say 8 9 years or 10 years, at the most 10 years back, right? That time it was a vision, but now it's a reality. Now it's a reality that anywhere and everywhere, with the use of telecom, people can learn. Uh, there's so many universities which are offering the courses in India. You can be anywhere, name it, and you have the courses from those universities. And similarly, um, I mean, geography has no limitation. It can anybody and everybody can learn, as long as the person has the competence and the curiosity to pick up the new thing. So the larger ecosystem has its own way of pacing itself up with respect to, and it does the change management better than us actually. without,
Yes.
without our realizing it, the change management is happening on its own. We think that we are doing the change management, but change at its own pace. It's happening, and it's good not to come in the way of it. That's the best change management.
Correct. Right. So moving to my next question, Mohit. Now that you are a certified ESG expert, what values do you bring along? I mean, what can you offer the corporate world?
So sensitivity about the larger ecosystem that we operate in, the environment, right? What world we got from our parents, are we leaving it better for our children? And that is where the sensitivity about how do we connect with the resources, how consciously we leverage the resources, or exploit is a bad word. How do we leverage the resources towards the human need? And that is where the trend on the minimalist living also, how we're conscious about utilizing the resources. Resources are limited, so how do we uh, get more conscious about it? How do we get more green about what we are doing? As we can see that the world is getting warmer and warmer. Yeah, so for the what kind of a world we're going to leave for our children, right? That is socially, long back I used to be kind of moved into the world of corporate, inspired by the capitalist vision, that is, if we create wealth, it trickles down to the lowest level possible. But as you experience that, if you keep waiting for that trickle down to happen, it may take centuries and it may take generations. So that is where the other aspect of inclusion comes in, the social part, inclusion of everybody, right? Everybody. Like in my book, that is humanizing downsizing. I've talked about my visit to Singapore. where the people who cannot afford the housing on their own, they're given the housing by the government, which is a decent housing, and food is guaranteed to them, right? So that kind of a capitalism, which is inclusive capitalism, that okay, fine, from each according to his capacity, and to each according to his capacity. That's a capitalism idea. But on the other hand, at least a dignified basic human living is given to everybody. So I would like to see a world which is inclusive. I would like to see a world which has the dignity of everyone guaranteed. People don't have to struggle for economic inclusion, that they don't have to sleep hungry, they don't have to worry about the emotional inclusion, that they don't feel left out, right? And that's so well rooted in the Indian ethos, that is, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is something that we believe in. And obviously all that is possible through the governance. So whatever we dream about a better world, that is possible through this ESG, the world of tomorrow, or the world of our collective dreams is possible through ESG. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Now we are building this FaceTime with leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for a better corporate governance in the country. What are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Zishan Pathan and Mr. Heval Mehta and the World Development Team?
This is wonderful, actually. That is bringing all the people together. I have been attending the sessions from different people. I've been benefiting from the different rich perspectives shared by the thought leaders from different fields, right? And similarly, whatever I can share with others. So that building a community of the people who believe in better world tomorrow, who believe in better governance, right, and who can contribute their experience and expertise towards the betterment of the corporates, bringing them all together, offering a systematic exposure and offering a systematic developmental journey, and offering it on a continuous basis, that once you are part of the community, you're part of the community, and you can keep leveraging that community for complementing your knowledge and your expertise and the network, right? So that's a great thing to happen.
Great. It was very nice talking to you. That was fantastic. And I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Mohit, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, I trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Have a good day, actually good evening, and thank you.